The process of wet sanding is sanding while keeping the surface wet. This prevents dust from being created while sanding. Keep wetting the surface as you sand. This will create a wet paste and prevent airborne dust being generated while sanding. Edges of paint that have been scraped can be feathered back using this process when surface damage is minimal. The following precautions should be undertaken when wet sanding hazardous substrates such as old lead paint or asbestos substrates. Do not use a pot or bucket of water as the water will be contaminated and you'll have to find an environmentally suitable way to dispose of it. Do not allow the surface to dry completely before you clean the surface with damp rags. Damp rags used for cleaning and the old sandpaper should be treated as contaminated waste and be disposed of in accord with the legislation. Keep your clothes clean and free of the contaminated paste. If this can't be avoided, then wear appropriate disposable coveralls.
Chemical stripper is a popular method of removing lead-based coatings from substrates, although it is slow to complete the task, often requiring more than one application. This method avoids damage and provides a clean surface for recoating if carried out carefully. The National Institute of Painting and Decorating does not recommend the use of chemical strippers containing methylene chloride. New products available are more cost-effective, work more efficiently, and pose less risk to the environment and the applicator. Remember, read manufacturer's instructions before commencing to use a product like liquid paint remover. Acquire and refer to MSDS. Most specialist liquid paint removers have two main ingredients: alkaline caustic soda applied as a poultice, soy gel. Applying liquid paint remover. Liquid paint removers are best applied by brush, but can also be applied by airless spray or by trowel. Check manufacturer's directions. Use an old brush, as the bristles will be permanently damaged after use in the liquid paint remover. After a time, the coating will wrinkle or bubble and become separated from the surface. The paint remover is brushed in a thick layer over the surface to be stripped. When this occurs, the coating and the paint remover is scraped off the surface with a stripping knife. Scrape loose paint and paint remover back to a sound surface. Take care not to damage the surface by digging the knife into it. The coating should be scraped off in the direction of the grain to avoid damage to the timber. Dispose of scrapings immediately into a suitable container. Avoid splashes or damage to surrounds. Very thick coatings may require more than one application of paint remover to gain a satisfactory result. Select non-caustic type paint removers to avoid staining of the timber and damage to veneers and joints. Some brands of paint remover use wax instead of cellulose. Wax type products will require washing with water and methylated spirits to remove all traces of wax. If this is not done, the wax on the surface may cause slowness of drying or lack of adhesion of the following coatings. Always conduct testing to find a system that works on your project. Alkaline strippers should be neutralised with a weak vinegar solution prior to repainting. Failure to do so will result in premature breakdown of the subsequent coating. Protect adjacent surfaces from damage. Walls, floors, fittings and bench tops will be damaged if not protected from clean and used paint remover. Dispose of used paint remover and old coatings in an acceptable manner. For example, sealed waste containers.
Lead paint that is blistering, flaking, or cracking should be completely removed. If it's just painted over without proper preparation, then there's a high chance that the system will fail, exposing the lead hazard. There are a number of options available to remove old lead paint. In this lesson, we will discuss dry power sanding, which is one of the most common forms of lead abatement. You will need to use a HEPA extraction system to control the dust hazards associated with dry power sanding. A HEPA filter is an additional filter to the filter the extraction system already has. HEPA filter is a high extraction particulate air filter. This filter prevents very small particles escaping the vacuum and becoming airborne. The HEPA extraction system is basically a large vacuum that can be connected directly to the power tool to collect dust created by the paint removal. It can also be used to vacuum up dust and debris on the project. The disadvantage of dry power sanding is that lead dust will be generated. To control the associated hazards of dry power sanding, you'll need to do the following. Use appropriate containment processes. This is covered in detail in another lesson. Wear appropriate PPE or personal protective equipment. You should refer to the Australian standards for the recommended PPE that is used when sanding paint containing lead. You need to implement good hygiene and housekeeping practices. Perform a cleanup on a daily basis and do a final systematic and comprehensive cleanup at the end of the project. You'll also need to do clearance testing on the completion of the project. Clearance testing will be covered in another lesson. The dry power sanding method should only be carried out by persons with appropriate training and experience. Dry power sanding isn't suitable for removing paint from detailed mouldings or ornaments.